test. Morning's public hearing. On behalf of the members of the Standing Committee on Executive Appointments and Government Investigation, we would like to welcome Governor Appointee and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola's representative, Mr. John Regis, the appointee, Mr. Matthew C. Musga, elected officials, dignitaries, and members of the general public. Before we proceed forward with this public hearing, let me first introduce the members of this standing committee. To my right is Senator Paul Manglonia from the 1st Senatorial District, and next to him is Senator Juju of Snyder from the 2nd Senatorial District, and next to him is Senator Ron Kavu from the 1st Senatorial District, and next to him is the floor leader of the Senate, Senator Manglonia from the 1st Senatorial District, and Senator Manny Castro from the 3rd Senatorial District. I would also like to announce a couple of things in the interest of informational purposes regarding Code of Conduct during this public hearing. Today, the members of this standing committee is conducting a public hearing on the appointment of Mr. Matthew C. Musga to serve as a board of directors of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation to represent the 2nd Senatorial District. The public will be invited to make comments as to whether you support or oppose the appointee before us this morning. We value your input. However, any comments beyond the facts of the appointee or comments that are not related to this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. At the same time, please observe minimal noises in disrupting this hearing process, and please turn your electronic to a silent mode. Thank you. Let us now begin. This public hearing is now in session. Today is September 17, 2025, at approximately 10:18 in the morning here at the Tinian Courthouse, San Jose Village. This is a public hearing regarding the appointment of Mr. Matthew C. Musga by Governor Appointee and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola to serve as a board of directors of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation, NMHC, to represent the 2nd Senatorial District. Devin Macaronis, the admin assistant, will be assisting us on today's hearing. Ben Terlai will be our sergeant at arms, and Jobo Moody's will be our legal counsel. Jonathan Diaz will be our IT, and they all serve this public hearing accordingly. At this time, I ask Mr. Macaronis to please call the roll.
Senator Ronnie M. Calvo.
Present.
Senator Manny T. Castro.
Stick up.
Senator Francisco Q. Cruz.
Here.
Senator Jude U. Hofschneider.
Yeah.
Senator Karina L. Magofia. Senator Donald M. Manglonia.
Present.
Mr. Chairman, there are 5 members present and 1 member absent.
Thank you, Mr. Macaronis. With 5 members present, we have the necessary number to proceed with this public hearing. However, the Vice President of the Senate, Senator Karina Magofia, is excused for this hearing. At this time, do I hear a motion to adopt our agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I think they did not add my name yet on the list. And I just want to, for the record, indicate that I'm here. Thank you.
I'm sorry, my apology. Not going to happen again, Senator Paul. At this time, do I hear a motion to adopt our agenda?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
There's a motion for the adoption of today's public hearing agenda and was seconded. All in favor of that no motion, say aye. Opposed and nay. Motion carries. At this time, I'd like to invite the governor's rep and the appointee to please come to the podium. And sir, before you proceed with your testimony on today's public hearing, please state your name for the record.
Good morning, buenas and half day. Chairman Francisco Cruz and honorable members of the Executive Appointments and Government Investigations Committee. For record purposes, my name is Jean-Paul B. Regis, the newly appointed Special Assistant for the Administration under the Office of the Governor. On behalf of the Honorable Governor David M. Appointee and the Honorable Lieutenant Governor Dennis James C. Mendiola, I thank you for the opportunity to appear before you guys today. I am pleased to introduce a former co-worker and a friend, Mr. Matthew C. Mosga, the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor's nominee for the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors, representing the 2nd Senatorial District of this beautiful island of Tinian. I am sure that all required documents have been transmitted to the Honorable Committee, including Mr. Mosca's resume describing his education and professional accomplishments. Currently, the Senior Policy Advisor for the Mayor of Tinian, Anaguigan, Mr. Mosca is a dedicated public servant with over 29 years of experience. His impressive commitment to public service is shown through his various roles and efforts to enhance the well-being and standards of the community. His achievements, credentials, and commitment to serving our great Commonwealth makes him an outstanding candidate for this position. For this reason, Governor Appointee and Lieutenant Governor Mendiola placed their complete trust and confidence in Mr. Mosca's ability to serve on the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors. We are confident that he is well prepared to answer several questions that you may have and present his vision for the future. Again, thank you, Don Jesus Mosi, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to introduce Mr. Mosca to this august body, and we look forward to your favorable consideration. Jesus Mosi.
Thank you, Mr. Regis, for your testimony. And before I recognize the appointee to present any testimony, Mr. Mosca, please, can you please rise so that our staff can administer the oath? Can you
Matthew C. Mosca, you do solemnly swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you shall give in the matter at hand shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McFarland. And Mr. Mosca, I know that you have submitted all required documents by the standing committee, but if you have anything else that you wish to share this morning with the committee, you have the floor, but please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Senator Cruz, and members of this committee. Welcome to Tinian. Thank you for taking your time to be part of this hearing for my confirmation for this morning. I'm grateful for your time today. I would like to express my appreciation to the Honorable Mayor Edwin O'Don for recommending me to the Governor of the Northern Marianas Housing Board of Directors. I also value Governor Appointee for having the confidence on my nomination. Prior to his passing, I would like to acknowledge the late Governor Arnold Palacios for he had recommended for me to serve on this board. It is an honor to be present this morning in front of you guys and with my wife, Rose Mosca. I'd like to recognize her and some of our family. I extend my gratitude to everyone in attendance, particularly the NMHC management, Director Jeannie Mofnas, who's here also, and the staff for being here in this hearing today. I also acknowledge those who submitted letters, recommendations in support of my appointment to the Board of Directors for NMHC. Finally, I would like to thank the NMHC Executive Director, Jeannie Palacios, and staff again for being here. I'm eager to address any inquiries you may have regarding my nomination for the Northern Marianas Housing Board of Directors, and I'm here this morning in front of you to try to answer as simple as possible on this hearing. Again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Mosca, for your testimony. And before I open the floor for public comments, first I would like to recognize or acknowledge those agencies that are invited to participate in this morning public hearing. First on the list is I apologize that I didn't include in today's the public notice, Mayor Don. I know that he's off island, but I believe the acting mayor is the chairman of the Tinian Municipal Council, and I apologize, Director Ginny. If I may invite and the members, if no objection, I would like to give the acting mayor the opportunity first to present any testimony in regards on today's public hearing. So I would like to recognize the acting mayor to please come forward. And before you proceed, sir, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
Afterday, Tiro, and good morning to everyone here today. For the record, my name is Joseph E. Santos, the acting mayor of Tinian and Nagiguan. Again, thank you for the opportunity to speak here to this distinguished committee. I just want to acknowledge the presence of Chairman Francisco Q. Cruz and honorable members of the EAGI committee, representative from the governor's office, corporate director for NMHC, Ms. Ginny Mofnes, and her staff, community members, and everyone joining us today for this important confirmation hearing. As acting mayor of Tinian and Nagiguan, I'm here to formally express my full support for Matthew C. Mosca's nomination as Tinian Rep for the NMHC Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors. Mr. Mosca is a lifelong resident of Tinian and a devoted public servant with over 30 years of experience in public safety, emergency management, and community leadership. During the COVID-19 pandemic, he served as head of the COVID-19 task force here on Tinian, where he led the efforts to coordinate agencies, develop emergency protocols, and safeguard the health of our community during unprecedented times. Throughout his career, Mr. Mosca has held numerous leadership roles that demonstrate his knowledge, dedication, and ability to serve. His former positions include Resident Department Head of Public Safety, Resident Deputy Commissioner of Fire and Emergency Medical Services, Chairman of the Tinian Casino Gaming Control Commission, Staff Assistant at the U.S. Congress District Office, Resident Department Head of the Department of Commerce. His early career as a police officer and a detective in law enforcement likewise exemplifies his unwavering commitment to public safety and accountability. His broad range of experience affords him a deep understanding of government operation and public implementation. His proven leadership and genuine dedication to the people of Tinian make him highly qualified for this role. I am confident that Mr. Mosca will ensure the unique needs and perspective of Tinian are well represented at the policy level, and that his contribution will bolster the efforts of NMHC. Once again, I thank this committee for the opportunity to support Mr. Mosca's appointment, and I am confident that his service on the NMHC board will bring meaningful benefits not only to Tinian but the entire Commonwealth. Sidus Masin, I wish everyone a productive and a positive day.
Thank you, Acting Mayor Joseph E. Santos. Next on the list, the Corporate Director of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation, Ms. Ginny P. Mofnas.
Half a day and good morning, Chairman Cruz and this distinguished body of the EAGI committee. My name is Ginny Mofnas, and I am the Corporate Director for the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. And I'd like to recognize my team here from Tinian and also some from the island of Saipan. I am pleased to offer my strong support for Mr. Matthew Mosca's confirmation to the Northern Marianas Board of Directors, Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. On a personal level, I've known him for quite some time now, as he was often in the company of my godfather and uncle, the late Antonio M. Borja, also known as Chief M, one of the most notable and respected former members of the NMHC Board of Directors. I'm confident that anyone who had the opportunity to associate with and spend time around the late director, Borja, as Mr. Mosca did, was fortunate to be mentored by him. Mr. Mosca brings a wealth of leadership experience and proven management skills demonstrated through his extensive service in public safety, emergency management, and community coordination roles on Tinian. His proactive leadership as head of the COVID task force and as a senior policy advisor showcases his ability to manage critical programs, collaborate effectively across multiple agencies, and develop through operational procedures capabilities essential to the success of a housing agency. Mr. Mosca's long-standing commitment to the community is evident in his leadership roles, including serving as resident department head of public safety and the resident deputy commissioner overseeing fire and emergency services. During his time, we also collaborated, I think that was over a decade ago, on several DFEMS projects funded through our community development block grant program. His dedication to public service and community well-being is clear in everything he does. He also possesses strong organizational planning and budget management skills, which are vital for the responsible oversight of housing programs and services. Furthermore, his experience representing public interest in government settings and his ability to navigate complex and administrative and regulatory environments equipped him well to advocate for fair, transparent, and effective housing policies. With an agency that runs and operates close to $300 million, about 90% of that being grant funding, and with a staff capacity of almost close to 100 employees, his skills are absolutely necessary on the housing board. Mr. Mosca's educational background in criminal justice, combined with his extensive practical experience and deep community involvement, uniquely positions him to understand and address the diverse needs of our residents while ensuring organizational integrity and accountability. I believe Mr. Mosca will bring vision, accountability, and community-focused stewardship, especially for the people of Tinian, to the NMHC Board of Directors. I, again, wholeheartedly endorse Mr. Mosca for this important role, and I'm confident his ability to positively impact housing initiatives and policies, ultimately improving the quality of life for our CNMI community. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Mopnas. Member of the Board of Directors, anyone here? No one. At this time, I would like to open the floor for public comments. Anyone in the gallery wishes to make comments, and again, I would like to repeat this: that any comments that is raised that are not directly related or related to this public hearing will not be entertained, and such comment will be removed from the record. And before anyone wishes to deliver testimony, please state your name for the record. Thank you.
For the record, my name is Jose M. De La Cruz. I'm a resident of Tinian. Good morning, Chairman Cruz and member of this august body. Thank you for having this public hearing so that you can give our people here on Tinian an opportunity to come in and express their views on this nominee. First and foremost, I want to thank our governor, Lieutenant Governor, for appointing one of our outstanding member of our community to serve on this very, very critical board. NMHC is such a wonderful agency. They have been helping our people used to serve on that body as well back in the early late 90s and early 2000. We have heard earlier Mr. Matthews' resume, his experience is very vast, and I'm proud to come here. I work with him at the mayor's office as a senior policy advisor. We have known Matthew for a long time, and he is a wonderful individual. He will really bring a major contribution to this agency and continue to help our people here on the island. I just want to come here and show full support for his confirmation, we're asking this August body to expedite his confirmation so that we can move forward and continue to help our people. Undang kuluna si Jesus Masi, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the day.
Jesus Masi, Mr. De La Cruz, still open for public comment? Anyone else?
Good morning, Chairman Francisco Cruz, distinguished members of the EAGI committee, and all who are present here today. My name is Rosita King Audan, and it is truly my honor to stand before you to express my full support for Mr. Matthew Cruz Mosca in his nomination as board member for the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation. Mr. Mosca has served our community with dedication and integrity, and also we've been colleagues in the law enforcement section for as long as I can remember. From his time as a policeman to director of the Department of Public Safety, chairman of the Tinian Casino Gaming Control Commission, resident director at the Department of Commerce, resident deputy commissioner at the Department of Fire and Emergency Management Service, staff assistant at the U.S. Congress, Office of the Delegate Gregorio Kilili Kamatsu Sablan, head of the COVID-19 Task Force, and now as a senior policy advisor at the Mayor's Office, Tinian. His experience, leadership, and heart for our people are unquestionable. As his classmate, primo, best friend, and fellow islander, I have seen firsthand his deep commitment to the safety, progress, and well-being of our community. I believe he will bring wisdom, fairness, and strong leadership to this board. Lastly, I respectfully ask for your consideration and full support for Mr. Mosca's nomination. Thank you and good morning.
Thank you, Mrs. Mayor. Is still open for public comment? Anyone from the, I know that the corporate director of NMHC have delivered a support testimony on today's, on the appointee. Is anyone from the NMHC here in Tinian wishes to deliver any testimony? We want to hear whether you're comfortable with with Mr. Mosca to serve on this capacity, or is there any? We just want to make sure you give the opportunity for the staff here. If there's anything that you wish, either you're not in support, you're free to come forward and deliver any testimony. Once I close public comment, I will not return back to public comment. We will proceed with our agenda. So anyone? Okay, so at this time, I close the floor for public comment, and I would like to ask Mr. Devin McCarnes to please acknowledge those submitted letter of support.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Mr. Mosca, and members of the general public, in addition to the oral testimonies received today on the executive appointment of Mr. Matthew C. Mosca to serve as a member of the Northern Marianas Housing Corporation Board of Directors, please be advised of 4 additional written testimonies officially received in support of the appointee from the Honorable Edwin P. Odon, Mayor of the Municipality of Tinian and Aguiguan, Teresita A. Santos, Jose P. Kyoshi, and Richard S. Lazaro. At this time, no written testimonies in opposition to the nominee's appointment have been received by the committee. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Macronas, and also for the benefit of everyone here, the members. I know that we required a oral testimony and a written testimony, but just for the record, the former Congressman Gregorio Kilili called me in support of your appointment, Mr. Mosca. I know that I don't have any written, but is in support of your appointment. So at this time, I would like to acknowledge the members who wishes to either raise questions or concern. And I ask, since this is the first senatorial district, second senatorial district, I would like to ask the cooperation and understanding of the members that I will start with the member of the second senatorial district, if there's no objection from the member. At this time, I would like to recognize Senator Yu of Snyder.
Jesus Mossy, Senator Cruz, and thank you, colleagues, for allowing me to express my line of questions first, or to the nominee. And I would also like to, extend my greetings to everyone. Being modest about it, but she's actually the First Lady of Tinian. Thank you for coming up and expressing your support. Also, former Senator Joe De La Cruz, thank you. And to the Tinian staff, I'm certain that you all are here to witness the nominee's willingness and his extensive experience to serve under this very, very critical entity from years ago, and especially to today. Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, but I would like to offer maybe several comments in anticipation of confirming Mr. Mosga to this very important organization. I do want to express a few things, perhaps an idea that we can explore moving forward with the annual HUD grant funds, Director Mofnas. I think I raised this first. I wanna bring this to light, and again, I raised this during the confirmation or budget hearing with Secretary 62 Igisomar as a DPO secretary. One of the things that we always, as elected officials and representatives of the people in the CNMI, we always run into issues with homestead programs, whether it's the village homestead or agriculture homestead, where the land is not growing fast enough to accommodate the amount of applicants that we receive, the Department of Public Lands receive every day. So one of the things that I broached I presented to Secretary 62 is to see what kind of, or to seek a guidance from NMHC to revisit the opportunity, if they can work together to look at those Section 8 housings in the CNMI that are currently available, being vacant, and see if they can, come up with an agreement to pull it into the pool of village homestead, and and allow it to be to consider it as a homestead. Of course, there's going to be some administrative procedure in that. I say this not to displace our beloved constituents that are staying there, but what I'm trying to get to, so if we, and I think I can comfortably say that the return on investment on all those is already met from years ago, correct? As far as the original corpus of the investment. So I think we need to revisit this program of Section 8 housing and build newer ones within the CNMI, throughout the CNMI. And the ones that are current, especially the ones that are vacant and are not being occupied, is to consider sourcing it out as or making it available. Work with DPO to use it as a homestead, and that would really resolve the issue of, number one, them getting their homestead. Number two, there's a house already. So, you know, you really just, and also we're really trying to help our people trying to get their dwelling, no? Number two is if that should be in the realm of discussion, and I highly suggest that once again do a centralized individual wastewater disposal system for all those houses, because that would negate the need for each houses to go and apply for individual wastewater disposal. I'm talking about the septic tank, right? You know, you guys are familiar with this. Centralized so that we can resolve that matter with the applicant, the potential applicants. So I just want to throw that out, Jeannie and Mr. Mosca. Perhaps this is something that, you know, it's not an overnight fix, but it's something that we can start discussing with our other entity, you know, in this case DPO. Number two, Tinian is in the middle, or if not, in the third year, I believe, no, Ginny, of a very once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of grants as a result of the super typhoon that devastated the island, Ground Zero Tinian. And as a result of that, we had an opportunity to get some funds from HUD by way of disaster recovery. And the previous leaders and the leaders of today, the leadership of Tinian, and the management of CDBG, and staff for NMHC, we forged an agreement as to the types of critical needs, primarily the housing and the residential, and also some of the infrastructure that is of critical in nature. So I want to bring this to light, Mr. Mosga, that 2026 is around the corner, and I think that's the drop dead year, if I'm not mistaken. Or okay, so that's good. It's good to hear that there's going to be a request, because somehow when the process to which all the projects that we do here, even if we want it done in 1 year, there's a lot of administrative and sometimes unanticipated delay. It made it extended the need for the time from groundbreaking to ribbon cutting. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight that, Mr. Mosca, to work closely with Jeannie and her team, and of course the Tinian leadership to guide this through, because this is not that we don't, we're not going to get any more funds in the future, but this is something that has never happened before. So I respectfully ask that we prioritize that. Also, this is not a, just going back to my original comment, this is not a bad idea to start looking at areas within the CNMI, Saipan, Rhoda, and Tinian, and start sourcing out public lands to potentially have a new subdivision for Section 8. We need to upgrade our houses already for, I think we're spending a lot of money just, putting a bandage and all that. And I think, I believe those houses were built in like 1980s, and it's already, pushing 50 years old. So I think our people can appreciate a newer set of units. Mr. Chairman, I have a couple more, but I'm gonna go ahead and reserve additional, because if I get into the two, I'm gonna take most of the time with the other members. So I'm gonna yield back, but I wish to get a second round. Thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Senator Schneider. Recognize Senator Paul Munglonia.
Thank you, Chairman. Just following up on the comments by Senator Jude, I totally agree on Saad's proposal, because even on Rhoda also we have the housing LISU director. You're probably familiar with that, and I know everyone here probably been to Rhoda, know the housing subdivision that was built back in the
I think early 80s, and you know that we all agree that it's costing us a lot of renovation and maintenance to that facility, and that could be a proposal that we should look at. But just for the new the nominees' interest here, Chairman, can we ask the director to come forward? Just so I know that this is a hearing for Matthew, but I think some of the a couple questions, it will benefit all of us to understand.
Senator Po, let me ask if there's no objection from the members, if we can allow the corporate director to come forward and answer some of the concern.
Objection?
Any opposition from the members? No objection? Okay.
I hope there's no objection. And so I have a lot of questions actually today for the nominee, Mr. Chairman, because I know him since he was attending college in Guam, but I guess I have to limit it to housing programs. And so thank you. Can I ask how many, for maybe the numbers are the same in Tinian as well as Rhoda, but how many vouchers are given now to low-income housing?
Okay, for Rhoda, there's about 30 units, so 30 vouchers, but I believe 14 are offline because of the condemned conditions of those units. In Tinian, there's 20 current units, I believe 100% occupied. And then in Saipan, there's over 100.
Okay, so the vouchers, these are given so they can go to any private house or no?
There's two Section 8 programs, Senator.
Okay.
There's the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher, which you're referring to, and then there's a Section 8.
So I guess how many can you distinguish?
In the CNMI, about up to 363 vouchers.
And on Rhoda?
Rhoda itself, right now, because of the offline, there's probably 16 vouchers. For the housing choice, Senator, I don't know the exact number, but probably 5. 5 for Rhoda, 7 for Tinian for housing choice.
And then 14 or up to 30 for the multifamily.
Yeah.
And so, and that's why actually I kind of I like the idea by Senator Jude, because if we sell those old homes, right, then less maintenance costs and renovation for housing, and then allow those kind of voucher to just apply to the choice, and that way we can encourage new homes for this low income by actually providing for the LIHTC, low income tax credit program, because we have yet to see one on Rhoda. Is there anyone on Tinian?
None in Tinian.
Okay, so I guess also there might be an opportunity for one on Rhoda and one on Tinian, just so we can see also new homes for the low income. And so that's what basically I wanted to bring up. But moving on the housing also, I wonder if you're aware, nominee Matthew, Director, I have brought this up in past hearings, the need for middle-income housing. For middle-income housing, if you go to you can only go to Bank of Guam or the other banks, right? And because you don't have a program right now under Housing Authority. And you know, when a young person goes to the bank, they're told, okay, you want $300,000 homes, and the homes are in that range, believe it or not, right? 300,000, 400, and so they're asked to deposit 30%. Believe it or not, 30%. That's 120. Where does a young child, young employee, right, get 120,000 to deposit? No way. And so sometimes these young kids go to the States. They say, hey, if I go to the States, I just go in there. They'll give me a loan for 400,000, and I don't need to deposit. And so that's why we're losing also some of our kids because they don't have that opportunity to invest and build a nice home for their family. And so I had brought this up to MPLT, just so you're aware, and I'm told that they're coming close to getting some funding reserve. I don't know whether it's $1 million or $2 million. I know it's not much, but they're supposed to work with the housing so you can then use that as seed money and get a larger amount. I don't know what is the latest on that discussion, but I'm going to ask our new nominee to please look into that, work with MPOT or come up with other programs. But 30% of $300,000 loan, it's impossible. Not many of our kids can avail of that kind of program, and I really don't know how we can work with the bank so they can lower that, knowing, for example, that the borrower has land, right, that they can put up as collateral also, and I don't know how much they would consider the appraisal value of the property, but I know that that's an issue that has been raised to me in the past. Just moving on, can I ask, going back to the low-income tax credit, is that competitive in the CNMI to the point that they actually have to bid out for this tax credit, or is it available, and also is it available for Rhoda, or do they have to just lump that under the Commonwealth? Can you please?
Yeah, under the Light Tech program, there's allocations every year. However, it has been competitive in the last few years where we can only allocate to 1 or 2, but 3 investors, syndicators, developers have come and applied. So yes, it's become competitive, but it's all based on their proposal and if they met their criteria.
So if they want to do one on Tinian or Rhoda, it's the same pool, right, that you're going after?
Yes, it's the same pool because it's one CNMI in Hot's Eyes.
Okay. For Rhoda, I wonder if you're working with the 702 office, CIP, because we allotted our 702 funding to bring the water line to Doogie Homestead.
Okay.
I believe they were to just connect to the closest point, water line, and then run it to the entrance of Doogie. I know that that's not your project and that that's a DPL, but you're into housing and all that. Can you look into that and make that your responsibility to work with the 702 office so they can bring that water line? They told us that it shouldn't take long. The money is there, and we just don't know how long it's going to take to connect the water line to Doogie, so that those with, can start to do the foundation and start.
Yeah, unfortunately, Senators, so as far as homesteads are concerned, I know that Senator Jude had brought it up. HUD is very, they don't really support the idea of funding homesteads.
Oh no, I'm not asking for funding. There is there are funds for that already. What I'm saying is, maybe just need to work with them and whatever technical assistance you can offer them. I think it can move it faster because I understand you have some technical assistance they can avail because they're just a small office, right? And so I really don't know what's the whole up, but we appreciate you're looking into the Doogie Homestead and seeing how you can help to bring the water at least to the entrance of the homestead.
Sure.
I have a couple more, but I'm just going to end for now, give the others a chance. But let me go to this farmer's home. In the old days, they call it farmer's home, right? Now they call it
USDA.
What's the loan?
USDA.
USDA loan. Can I ask, in the last year, how many from Tinian applied and how many from Rhoda and how many Commonwealth-wide under that program?
For the new program, none yet. We do have farmers' homes that were built way back when. However, we did execute a new agreement with USDA to be funding new homes under their program. Unfortunately, we're still working and going back and forth with USDA. We were told that it would probably be just up to 5 homes. However,
in the Commonwealth, 5 homes in 1 year?
Yes. Or in just
for the future?
Perpetually, there would only be 5 homes. However, we're working hard with them to possibly increase that number to at least double it.
So in the last year, there's not one home that was financed?
Because the program's not implemented yet.
Oh, and why is
The
that?
new
May I ask?
USDA. We're still working back and forth, looking at the agreement in place with USDA, and we're probably close to the finish line.
Okay.
However,
May
it's
I
not
ask,
been implemented.
or can I ask if you can provide us with your best estimate as to how many do you think on Tinian and how many on Rhoda and Saipan? Do you think that if this is open, will avail of this program?
Yeah,
I know that we have, as the Senator mentioned here, the typhoon recovery housing programs, right? But not everyone avail of that, and so I'm just wondering, taking that into consideration, how many do you think, so that maybe we can make an effort to increase that? And it's just that I remember 20, 30 years ago, it seems like every year on Rhoda, there's 3, 4, 5 houses that are built under that program, and I don't feel it anymore, and that's really a good program, right? So, but do you know if there's a threshold as far as salary there? Only the very low income will qualify for that program?
Yeah, so HUD we don't establish the income limits. HUD establishes income limits based on just stats, right, from the CNMI, and this is why we're working also closely with Commerce to kind of update their statistics and their figures, because it's impacting our grants. Whatever that information that they get or that the grantors get from Commerce is what they use to establish their income guidelines. But anyway, so for particularly USDA, because it's one CNMI, unless the board intervenes and maybe comes up with a policy of how much of the USDA homes to allocate to Tinian, Rhoda and Saipan, that could be possible, but for now that's not on the table yet.
So I think our nominee has a lot of challenge ahead, and I'm so happy that you're nominated for this board, Matt, and I have every confidence in you following up. You've heard some of the concerns and the issues facing us, and I think we just need to do some following up and working with the agency. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For now, that's all my question for now. Thank you, Director. Okay.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Recognize Senator Castro.
Thank you, Chairman, and welcome to our Director and nominee. Thank you for joining the hearing. I just had one question. It's in line with what the questions posed earlier with Senator Jude and Senator Magnolia. But given that our median household income is really low, right? Yes, we also need to work with Commerce, but at the same time, I think we also need to look at our contractors, because I just have this concern, which is some of these concerns have been vetted, but right now, because of the shortage in labor, it's mostly manpowers rather than certified contractors. So we have a lot of legitimate companies hiring unskilled workers, paying prevailing wage, right? Or on the contract, they're saying they're paying prevailing wage, meaning tile setter is maybe in the contract they're gonna say $14, $15, $16 an hour, but in reality they're really paying the worker the base price of a basic concrete worker is like $8 or $9. But the grant is paying, for that house, which can be built at a lower cost, but because of all this inflated process with the contractors, it ends up being where a 2-bedroom house used to cost $60,000, now it's almost $300,000. Actually, a 1-bedroom, probably NMHC project 1-bedroom concrete house is around that ballpark, in comparison to if you just went to the bank, and because these guys, they all talk, they know how much funding is available, and they group together, and it's like, so the reality of this situation, if we're not monitoring it, what happens is the people lose out. Because then there's less funding available to get people into homes because the prices are all inflated. So what I ask, and I know this is a little bit out of the scope, but there's other maybe policies we need to look into, but maybe like innovative programs where we can reduce construction costs. For example, this is really outside of the box, but it's one way because the labor right now we cannot control, but we can focus on the things we can control. A lot of people don't understand when I introduced the inmate salary bill, what was the intent. The intent of that inmate salary bill is to reduce construction costs and rehabilitate our inmates so that they are skilled, and when they get out of prison, they have skills that can get them a job rather than get them drugs and sell drugs and all of those things. The DOC outreach program has already proven their effectiveness. They've renovated buildings, government buildings, the Manomco Center, and a lot of the times it's mostly because we don't have that law in place. It's almost free labor, right? But it's not that it's free labor, but the thing is these guys are getting the skills to be gainfully employed. So maybe looking into an inmate workforce MOU with DOC, or should we pass this some kind of legislation to allow DOC to work with contractors or construction companies? Because many other states and jurisdictions, they pay like $1 an hour or cents an hour. And I'm not saying this is our sole focus, but I'm just thinking of ways we can reduce construction costs, because if we can bring the prices back to closer to what it was in the 90s and 80s, we're going to see more people in homes rather than renting and, like Senator Paul said, moving to the States because financing is very easy. And really that's another thing we need to look into. And this message is mostly for the board members because this is within the power to really look at our policies so that we can really hit the mark. We can get more of our people into homes. There's other questions I had, like for example, in line with what was said earlier, I think Upper Miha is still under NMHC, but and some of that have been sold already. The other side of Miha, I don't know if that was part of it, but now that side is private, or it was never?
It's still with us.
It's still? Okay. But also maybe, we can look into, I had this idea of annexing that and making it part of the hospital so that we can expand our, like our guest house, but more focus on the Manomco that need more space and family members to be visiting them when they're sick. And possibly the legislature can figure out a way to move that program just because it's close to the hospital, right? When you go off island for medical care, you see a lot of our hospitals, they look like they're designed to be like you're at home, right? So just seeing our patients going in and out of CHC, and that hospital was designed 1987 or built in 1987. It was designed for a smaller population, but we're looking at this issue from the macro, like from the whole system. And again, this is outside of the box, but you're one agency that I know that can really solve some of these systemic problems in our community. It may not be healthcare, but it all links. So I just want to thank you for your service, but I also wanted to just kind of remind, just like any other agency, there's millions of dollars, you know, if they're all combined, maybe we're already almost $1 billion or more, all these agencies that have federal funding, but it's our process that kind of ties up the spending of that funding. Just yesterday, Grant's office said, you know, if we're slow to spend the funds, that's less indirect costs. The day before that, just yesterday, we found out the government owes about every year like a million sum in power bills. Yet we have 50 million sitting in a division of energy that's waiting to be tapped. So, you know, if we can just, as board members and as administrators, if we can think of the systems approach, but also try to identify these root problems that, because we can have $1 million, but if our costs are not under control and if we're not watching out for, you know, contractors that are kind of milking the system, and I'm not saying they are, but there's some out there. And by design, if our labor pool is short, it's just basic supply and demand. The price is always gonna go up if we're lacking labor. But again, there's other ways to feed 3 birds with 1 seed. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Recognize Florida Manglonia.
Thank you, Chairman. Good morning, Mr. Mosca, Director, and to everyone present here today. First of all, congratulations on your nomination. And, you know, from what we've heard from the people that came before our speaker and provided their comments, as well as your resume, which is quite extensive, I do want to hear more of you so that the people viewing can also learn more about what your plans are and what initiatives maybe you have in place if confirmed as a board member to NMHC.
Well, Senator, I'm looking at the whole structure of this body of organization, which is NMHC. It seems like there's a lot of components that are maybe 3 areas, sections of the NMHC that I'm looking in now, because I'm not in a position to say things that are happening in NMHC. But the plan is to make things easier for people to apply for housing. I think as a board member, I would try to identify problems that we can fix to make it easier for people to avail. So that's the part that I'm looking at. And the plan is to work with the executive director and the rest of the board members, identifying these problems, including finding fundings to continue to support our people, you know, for this housing program. So that's my basic objective as a board member. Again, I can't say much about the program because I haven't been in there looking at technical issues, but I think to be part of a management that can solve things would make it easier for people to apply. That's the concept that I'm looking forward to working with the executive director and the rest of the NMHC board members. No?
Thank you for sharing that, because I think now more than ever is an important time to look at that process because of the recent distribution of lots, you know, here on Tinian, and you know the assistance that the people of Tinian are going to need in trying to be able to establish, you know, any infrastructure within these lots that were given out. But I also highly recommend you look at the fairness in some of the programs and the way they're implemented or advertised. I know you're probably familiar with the situation in which currently the CBDG DR program, which provides provided grants to individuals that was a loan in the beginning. It was initially it was a loan, but later it was turned into a grant. It you know, a lot of our people lost out on that opportunity to try to apply, and so, you know, just overall just ensuring that the program is equitable, and that there's not a lot of these changes happening mid program, you know, where it now looks as though it's become an unfair process for people who maybe had the plans initially, but the way it was advertised from the beginning, you know, kind of maybe, I don't know, discourage some people from even trying to take that opportunity. But also, one thing that I do want to ask, if confirmed, Mr. Muska, is like what Senator Paul had mentioned. I invite all the board members to visit Rhoda as well, and look at Blue Bay Homes. I mean, every so often when I do fly to Rhoda, I make my drive around, and what was 3 buildings is now 10 maybe that are closed off, and you know, it's becoming an eyesore, but also maybe a concern in terms of the safety of those living around the area. A lot of these buildings are dilapidated, and you know, like whatever the recommendations that the board comes out based on some of the recommendations that were brought up here this morning, I think that's by actually going down and seeing what we're going through and what our people are seeing and experiencing, I think that puts more pressure on the board to make decisions much quicker in terms of how do we address these issues. The one thing that I do want to also ensure is, have you ever been, or are you currently in the process of, or have you ever been a recipient of any NMHC programs or grants?
In 2004, I was part of the NMHC grant that was that I applied for my housing.
Okay.
Unfortunately, that program that I fell into at that time was funded by the NPLT. And so that NPLT took the program back after it wasn't making any money from NMHC. So it took the whole housing program, and now we report to NPLT. And from 100 and maybe 100, between 140 to 160,000, I'm now down to at least 27,000 to pay off my housing.
Okay.
And that was like since 2004.
Yeah.
So that was the last time
Okay.
I dealt
Yeah.
with.
No,
the
thank
housing.
you for being open about that. I just wanted to
Yes.
ensure the public that there is no conflict, if anything,
Yes.
that may come out of this appointment and confirmation. Another thing I wanted to ask is, right now, currently, is there any area of concern that you see right now with the way things are going on with NMHC? I know you said earlier that you're still in the process of trying to review the different programs that are being offered by NMHC, but is there something currently that maybe you would like to look more into and see how you can address that issue, if it is an issue?
Yes, Senator, before they announced my appointment and other people were hearing that I was going to get appointed for NMHC board, I'm hearing a lot of, some concerns regarding the program. I would not take sides and finding out, because now I'm finding out that a lot of the implementation of the program is based on the grantors, right? In the state side where we get our funding. So some people think that NMHC is probably bound by guidelines that they have to follow in order for them to issue loans. So that's the area that I'm concerned of. How can we change something and accommodate more of our people, right, to avail the housing program more? So try to change that policy, and maybe the way they write their grants, maybe we recommend it different ways in trying to justify so more of our people can qualify for the housing.
Yeah.
So that's the forefront of what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
So I'm here to work with the executive director and share what I can do, or look at the guidelines and what will make it easier for our people. So that's my objective for this.
Thank you for sharing that. I think also one recommendation I may provide in seeing that, you know, my apologies, prior to going into my next line of questions, I just want to confirm the offline vouchers you mentioned earlier, Director. Is that because the units are no longer
Habitable, yeah.
habitable, and so you were switching people over to offline the home
No,
choice?
there's 14 or 16 that are occupied. What we are trying to do as an agency, although we do have grants, right, close to 300 million because of CDBG-DR, those grants are very restrictive. We cannot, renovate Blue Bay homes or former Lizu housing. So I've been very I'm giving all the effort I can to identify that funding.
But for example, if there are 14 offline homes, would that possibly qualify us for 14 home choice vouchers?
It's two different programs.
Right.
In a sense, my short answer is no.
Okay.
I don't think we could, but we have.
But
our
is there a limit
experts.
on home choice vouchers?
Yes, there is, based on budget to the jurisdiction. So there is a limit on housing choice vouchers and then multifamily vouchers.
Have we capped our limit on?
Yes, we have.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And going back to the nominee, I think one of the recommendations I have is like what Senator Paul had mentioned, with MPOT and what assistance may be provided. Another possibility could maybe come out from whether it be NMHC or MPOT is to reach out to a lot of our homeowners who have left the island that have houses that are left sitting to rot, and maybe offer some kind of assistance to get these homes habitable so that other people may have the opportunity to rent them, especially in a time where it's more costly to build new structures. It might be cheaper and easier to get some assistance to renovate these houses so that, maybe the homeowner can earn a little income, but also provide opportunities for people to rent their homes, and who knows, even use it as Airbnb for when it's not being occupied. So it's a matter of housing assistance, but this could tie into the program with MPOT to help assist our NMDs in utilizing what we already have, as opposed to finding the 30% needed to build a new home. And so that's something that could also be looked into and considered. And if that's something that you as a board member or collectively as board members of NMHC think that it can be done, and with the assistance of MPOT, then we'd like to hear from you guys as legislators to see if that's something that we can assist legislatively and to help, move the process, so that we can, again, assist the younger generations who are finding it more difficult to pull out a mortgage at this time. And so with that, again, with what you've listed in your resume and everyone who came out in support of your nomination, I have every confidence in your ability to represent the people of Tinian and Iguiguan, but also to make the best decisions for the Commonwealth as a whole. And so congratulations again, and at this time, Mr. Chair, I yield.
Thank you, Floor Leader. Recognize Senator Cabo.
Thank you, Chairman Cruz. And I'd like to welcome the nominee, appointee Matthew Musca, and thank the Governor and Lieutenant Governor for their appointee. Taking a look at your, very prestigious resume, criminal record, statement of financial interest, drug assessment, everything looks all good. Green light on that. I'd like to also thank the testimonies by our Governor's rep, John Regis. You have quite a few great testimonies here, a lot of credible family members and people. So thank you to Ms. Jean Mofnes, her members from Saipan, and our Tinian Miha family here. We'll also our former Senator, Mr. Joe Dela Cruz, former NMHC, his credibility and his commendable testimony. First Lady Mayor, Mrs. Audon, for her testimony as well. Again, as our chairman mentioned, U.S. Congress Kalili. So these are all, credible people that can testify to your character, your leadership. And then we do have one on record, Teresita Santos, in regards, if I can reflect, that Mr. Mosca personally and known by if I can reflect on her message, Mr. Mosca personally and professionally, who has served the CNMI in various capacities as testimonies shared today, with extensive experience both in private and governmental sectors. As such, Mr. Mosca will certainly be an asset to an NMHC, of whom I fully unequivocally support his appointee and immediate confirmation. So in reflection to that, the transparency with, your background in especially when it came down to your responsibilities for COVID, your background in criminal justice, you coordinating, managing EMO, DFEMS, all these, high intensity situations when it comes to, rules, regulations, policies. We're talking about compliance, I can just taking a look at that, the guidelines in NMHC and all the facets and the requirements needed, from funding to funding source to, the wonderful proposals that are coming up, to help improve, most especially our people of Tinian and those new homeowners. Now new land is coming up, so especially for even not only low income, how we're trying to balance it with first-time homeowners. So in regards to, you're also making it equitable and easier for that funding source and people to come through. I thank you for your, agreeing for this opportunity, and look forward to you, helping our people of Tinian, helping our people of the neighboring islands, Northern Islands and Saipan, and all the wonderful challenges. And another point is, revamping the home development program. I know in all islands, they have been there in the 80s, 90s, and so forth. I'm not gonna repeat that, but with you and your expertise and your team, I know we're gonna move forward and accomplish great things coming up. Thank you so much. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Calvo. Anyone else for the second row? Recognize Senator Snyder.
Jesus Masi, one more time, Mr. Chairman. And thank you for the second round. And Jeannie, and thanks for joining the panel. So just quickly, I don't know, and I'm not certain to what extent that this has been resolved, if it has, but I'm wondering, one of the concerns that was raised by former service members, the U.S. Armed Forces, is the administrative costs or the down payment requirement for them to build a house. So they stand to get, a VA loan or something of that sort, but they're concerned about the amount of payout, the initial payment. Can you just speak to that?
Yeah, so for the VA loans that we're administering, we're sort of the middle person. We're doing the underwriting for those loans. Yeah, the administrative costs about, I believe, $3,000, which is really significant, right, for some of the vets. But we've been trying with the VA, working with our Guam office to kind of lessen those admin costs. They haven't budged really. It's, I think, to cover also costs on their end. We cover our own costs administering those loans.
So is it really the compounded administrative costs from
the yes.
So basically, you guys are just underwriting it?
We're just underwriting, and the main caseworkers per se is on Guam, but we're just underwriting, and also using our funds to underwrite these loans. But as far as the $3,000, and I think it's still $3,000.
What's the percentage of that that you? I mean, like of that, quantum percent NMHC?
Zero.
Okay.
Zero admin cost to us. Yeah.
Okay, but so I guess this is something that we can probably raise up to our delegate, no? Because I know she's very active in terms of advocating the VA side, just most recent in the news. So because sometimes we're kind of losing out on the possible clients, no? Bula Totota side have come back and served admirably, but they want to build their primary home perhaps, and so I'm glad that we're having this discussion. So another thing that I want to reflect, thank you, Matt, for bringing that up. It's the MPLT na agreement, then. But is there a possibility, like perhaps exploring? Is it almost a guarantee that you get the grants every year, like especially for housing?
For the block grants that we get, CDBG, Home, Section 8, ESG, those are block grants that we get every year. Almost a guarantee unless our president,
Okay, so what's the
cuts
ESG?
the
I'm
cost.
sorry.
ESG is the Emergency Solutions Grant. It's also known as the Homeless Grant. It's the smallest grant. We have about 80,000 per year.
So, more or less, how about for new homeowners?
New homeowners. Under the home program, we receive about close to $500,000 a year. 20% or 15% we retain for admin. So the 85% for project, we're only able to assist about 4 households per year. That's a block grant. That's every year. And we have about 200 families on the waiting list.
Wow. So, just tracking that number, is there I guess if you look at the statistics then and now, we have, especially here on Tinian, there's new homestead owners. And some of these people, most of them, if not, are first-time homeowners. So you think you can, what's the possibility of going back to your granting agency, HUD, of potentially using the guaranteed fund every year to do a bridge loan, float it, and use the local financing company here, or a bank, at a very reasonable APR?
Yeah.
So that our people can actually avail right away, as what was mentioned earlier. The way it's working right now, it's a discouraging element that instead of Nabinayo, 0 financing or 0% interest for the first 6 years, seems like what the car dealers are doing, so that they can actually get the money up front, build their house, and then move in. So there's some set of pride and accomplishment for the young homeowners, So is this something that you can discuss with and then of course Matt can.
Sure.
I'm sure Matt is agreeing with me here that we can bless something like that, as a statement earlier, that make it more seamless and easy for our people to access it.
Yeah, one of the CDBG eligible activity is a Section 108 loan, and that is that NMHC can borrow up to 5 times the block grant every year, so that's close to $4 million. CDBG has its own housing activities, so we can do that. It would be a huge task to take on administratively, but it is possible. Guam has done it, where you borrow up to 5 times the grant amount.
You know why I say this? I'm going to say this carefully. We've been giving authorization for loans and all that to the government, so I don't think I'm not going to speak for the members, but especially if something like this that is, you build onto it, you improve it, and it turns also the economy around, because, you get people to buy materials, it represents a gross revenue tax, and then ultimately you give them a household that they need. So if you need the assistance of the legislature, whether it's a joint resolution or something, I think we're not going to object to that, but in addition to the annual endorsement of the one that you reach out to the legislature every so often, I highly recommend to explore that option, so that we really can narrow the gap of the access, and especially the cost, because every year it goes up. I don't think it's going to go down. This cost of doing the cost of materials. It's not, if it's gonna go back down, then it's gonna take a while, and hence the conversation earlier about a $300,000 price tag for a single unit home. That's okay. Yeah, that's unfair, totally. So Jeannie, corporate director, and nominee Mosga, please, I ask that you look at this closely and put it in your radar of priorities, And I say this with sincerity because there's gonna be a lot more homestead owners here in Tinian in the next few months or a couple of more years, and I'm sure they're seeking ways to work with the financing institution. Okay, so that one, number two. So lastly, Mr. Chairman, before I save this for the last, because on full disclosure, Mara and I grew up together in what we call a District 1, and we've known each other for so many years. So I've seen him progress in his services in the community, although he never got into elected office, but his services depicts almost to that of an elected official, because especially during the time that in the Tinian's government was in critical, his services is dedicated. So wherever you put him, he's gonna put his 100. He's gonna give it his 110%. So I don't see that not being the case if he gets confirmed today. So I really appreciate that he's a busy guy, because he's a government employee and a public servant, but he's also there's another more significant element that he does, and for me, he's my master carver. So yeah, so he's taking up another opportunity. I mean, responsibility, and I personally, as a member of this body, I appreciate that he takes it on, and he accepts the responsibility, and no doubt that he's going to do a fantastic job as a representative for NMHC. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Snyder. Recognize Senator Maglonia.
Thank you, Talo Chairman, for the second round. I guess I like what I'm hearing from the corporate director, that from the CDBG allotment annually you can get up to 5 times in loan for, is it for housing programs in general?
It could be for housing.
So like even the idea that Senator Dono mentioned about those homes that are abandoned and along the main village and everywhere, we can do something about it. In fact, a few years back, I did bring that up to SIDA, to kind of work with those people so that they can help them, even as far as having a mobile phone and taking reservation for bed and breakfast and the whole work, so that they can know how to run such a business, and it will not only beautify the island but help them to make some money on their investments. So I really like that, and I think that that's something that I'm going to ask the nominee to maybe lead that, and work with the legislature and the agency. We would like to see that move forward for the benefit of our those people looking to improve or get new homes. And speaking of new homes, I just want to take the time so that the members can hear this also, as well as the nominee. When this administration first got in, the chairman of the transition committee, Juan Regis, took it upon himself, and he lobbied the administration and worked with the Office of Grant Management, and even got community and business support to work on a master plan for your property, and I believe it remains your property, right? The lower Mia housing, right? Yes. Which today you are leasing out. How much are those right now you're leasing out?
Fair market rent, I think $600.
So $600 a month, yeah. But I don't know, for whatever businesses, right? And some of them are not really well maintained. But the idea was to work on the tourism industry in the CNMI. So Mr. Regis sees this as an opportunity to make a difference make a significant change in the Garapan area, because after all, tourism is our number one industry, right? And he sees that the western side of the Garapan, is being beautified now, but that side, if we can somehow connect that, the west and the eastern side, all the way up to near the hospital, to the American Memorial Park, that will really, I guess, make a major difference as far as the tourism side there. And I know that this is for housing, but at one time I remember, and I think a public law was also passed to try to bid that out for some kind of development, right? Mm-hmm. Be it a shopping mall or tourism district or another housing proposal. But what's the status of that, Director, presently?
We've attempted to sell, I think twice before, but the law says that we would sell at the price of NMHC's liabilities, outstanding liabilities.
And what is the liability today,
Back then, it was about $11 million. I mean, we were counting every possible liability.
So now it's maybe...
It's probably, should be lower. But yeah, there was no interest. They wanted, investors.
Okay, so just for your information, there's this document, pre-master plan. I guess it sets up what ideas on how to do a master plan for that. And it's a thick document, and it was finance and, because these people had to come to Saipan, stay for a week, and they go out in the area to have a good idea of what is needed on Saipan. So it's such a waste that's done, and it's your property. I wonder if you have a copy of that. I can ask Mr. Regis to provide you, but I know that he worked with EPI so that EPI can find a grant so that we can do the master plan. And we're told by the people working on that if such a master plan is accomplished, that developers will come, because when they see that side has a plan already, they'll come and invest. So I don't know how to overemphasize, the need to work on that. And I ask you, Director, to please look into that and get an update, work with the Director and see how we can push that project again. It's good for tourism, and if we get our tourist industry back, it's for everyone in the CNMI, So I just want to point that out. And finally, may I ask on the foreclosed, are there any foreclosed properties that the MPLT loan or MIHA, housing loans, is that something that we're still hearing about, or there's no more?
Fortunately, there's been a decrease in foreclosures due to our $4 million homeowner assistance fund program, which also serves the high income. So our foreclosures have decreased. I actually haven't seen, there may be a few coming up on our Intinian and possibly Rhoda, and Saipan, but fortunately we haven't seen any.
And foreclosed homes, do you sell only to NMD, or is it a bidding war for anyone with money, or?
Yeah, it is a bidding process, an auction process, and NMD or a leasehold, like a long-term leasehold.
Why don't we do it? I know I have bills in the past; it never got passed, but to give it out to the homesteaders and maybe just get a pool of homesteaders and see if you can bid out to them or help them with a loan. Whoever has the, I don't know what the procedure, but it would help to, in the past, it's kind of like late already, but we still have some, so look into that, please, and make it available to our homesteaders first crack at the RFP. I just want to ask the Director to consider that too. And Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to see the incoming nominee get on board and start working with all of us to look at the housing needs of the CNMI. Thank you, Director Loke. Ginny, thank you.
Thank you, Senator Paul. Recognize Senator Castro.
Thank you, Director, for all the questions. It's turning into a different kind of hearing, but it's not every day we get the Director here. But at the same time, what's really important is that, you know, as policymakers, we represent the people. As board members, you know, we have to make sure like what our community is requesting is all in line, and we have a lot of challenges ahead of us. So, you know, that's why we're kind of like taking this opportunity. You know, there's I think it's a federal housing authority, or you know, in other jurisdictions they have the like loans that are kind of like backed by the government. So these are loans available to our like people, U.S. Constituents, where the housing authority kind of like helps you upfront the cost of building, let's say, a duplex or triplex, or maybe even apartment. You stay in one unit, and then you rent out the rest. Do we have any of those programs, or how can we start moving in that direction?
Similar to that, similar to that concept, through CDBG DR, this is kind of the quiet division in our DR program, is the affordable rental housing. So it's serves individuals, qualified individual landlords, to renovate their unit, but not so much where the landlord stays in a duplex or triplex and then the tenants stay in. But similar to that, it's through the affordable rental housing program where we assist landlords, and there's no income limit to that particular. And there are families or landlords that we're assisting in Tinian and Rhoda.
So how many total, and again, this is a separate project, right? But this CBDGDR landlord program, how many people in the CNMI avail to that?
Wow, sorry. It's 32 million. I want to say 20. 32 million, or actually maybe even more. I don't quite remember that number. Maybe a little over 20. Some who have received 600,000 average to renovate for like a 4-unit complex. But yeah, that's about 32 million allocation.
And it's a very interesting program. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is because, you know, over the years, our people have been used to all these other government programs that kind of made us forget how to be the entrepreneurs. You know, like growing up in the CNMI, like I remember the construction companies was locally owned. Two of the biggest one was like Sablon Construction, Marfran. You know, the stores in Dandan was Ike's Market. Like even here when I came, you know, SN5 or the San Nicolas, they had the gas station and even on Rhoda, Nandi's store, like, you know, like the bakery. And slowly less and less of our constituents are getting out of being entrepreneurial, and our federal government actually has a lot of programs designed to get them back into these types of you know, being job creators rather than just, you know, a job. So each year, you know, like even on Saipan, we see a lot of abandoned buildings or abandoned houses. More so in Rhoda, each time we go to a session, you know, I see all those buildings that used to be full. You know, so if there's a way we can leverage these federal programs to get back to that kind of and invest in our people, right? When I was in Rhoda recently, one of the business owners or you know, business persons mentioned that we don't really need a lot of big hotels, and this is coming from someone in Rhoda, right? And it just made sense what that person said. You know, the airplanes that are coming into the CNMI are low-cost carriers, meaning these are the tourists that look for Airbnbs, not hotels. So if there's a way we can leverage our programs to help, like, and Senator Donald mentioned this earlier, like, to help with the capital required to fix these dilapidated houses or buildings, but at the same time, whether it's CEDA, NMHC, NMC, and I know you wear that hat too, board member, but to kind of like synergize and get our people back into the business of being entrepreneurs, because that's the only way the funds, the economy is going to stay within the CNMI rather than exporting. So again, you know, if we can have this kind of thought process, and I know our grants are very, like, can be very restrictive, but you can always ask the grantor, hey, how about this? Because at the end of the day, what I just mentioned is in the best interest of our national government, our people, because we're trying to get our people and economy, you know, busy. And the last time I was in Rhoda, there was actually a manomko that told me they were trying to sell pugwa, and then there's all these regulations with just to sell pugwa, right? And she's like, you know, the word she used was you know, same word my grandma used to use, like basta de babarias. So the babarias is sometimes our policies have too much red tape, and we need to deregulate those red tape. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Castro. Anyone else before I take my turn? Recognize Senator Calvo.
Thank you again, Chairman. I know I'd love to for your turn, but I just wanted to share with our elected, you know, some of the, when I'm running through the program, just some of the highlights. I know that, you know, I'm pretty sure those that are internally working but for the general public, regards to the program challenges, you know, where if I can just share some of the quick notes that I noted down earlier while we're all commenting with the different housing programs and so forth. And just for those, you know, the high demand in regards to, this happens all the time too, if, you know, certain programs and advertisements, it's usually back home in Rhoda, it's verbal. It's not necessarily a friend of the friend or a family member, and then they go and check the office. So there is, just off personal note, high demand in applicants. We have a long waiting list of people, like you shared that one statistic that you mentioned, you know, with just one program. It's amazing just how many, you know, family members knocking on the door, people. Another thing, because we do have a construction, like few, and this is for the island of Rhoda, and I'm not too sure our family island of Tinian, but the rising cost, they share that with me, the sentiment of the rising construction cost. We're looking at our Tinian and Rhoda's geographic challenges. Coordinator, I'm pretty sure you're aware of that, the shortfall in the shipping materials that these construction you know, the people running the company, and then even the cost where they cap it at a certain amount, you know, with every day, just like your computer, the cost just keeps increasing. So that 250K cap, and it does exceed, and how do they manage it? So these are some of the things that Mr. Mosca is going to have conversations with, the inflation and prices. The delay, I know we've had, because I run through the school, and we have one of the family members for it's not the housing program, that CDBG project, you know, and every day you have family witnessing the development of that, but they're mentioning, you know, regarding permit and regulation delays. This is just for Rhoda, you know, slow in project starts because of permitting. Again, across the board, how, you know, our chairman for Physical Affairs, and all of us agree with the labor shortage and the construction, the pool of people to construct our homes, the affordability of rentals, plus you guys manage the federal fundings, the demand in meeting those datelines. You know, these are some of the, and then, you know, just, those are just some of the many things that I commend Mr. Mosca for coming into the board meeting, you know, hopefully soon, and tackling all those challenges. So I thank you, Chairman, and our team, and you for everything you do, as I just share some of the, you know, fractional portions of what we're facing and what we're going to need to overcome. Thank you so much.
To this particular appointment. But since Mr. Mosca, this is the first time that he was been appointed to NMHC, and we allowed in public hearing new appointees that don't have any you know, complete or general knowledge of what's happening inside the department, and it is important that we allow the management to participate to answer some of the complaints or concern that was brought to our attention by general public. So I asked to bear with us, and I know that it's not your public hearing, but it's, like I said, if Mr. Mosga is been reappointed, then that's when we don't allow so much question to the management, but to directly to the reappointment of any individual that is appointed or reappointed by the administration. However, I know you mentioned earlier in regards to farmers' home. I know that there's a MOA between NMHC and farmers' home, giving you guys there's an agreement in regards to rural housing services, right? You mentioned earlier in regards to is getting there. Is there any changes on that MOA?
Changes from like decades ago?
The agreement between Farmers Home and NMHC to
I don't believe there's any
to
changes.
administer the program, the housing program, loan program?
No, we just kind of revived it back, and it's been almost over a year of discussion, and we're ready on our end to implement. However, and I believe it's coming close, but we're just waiting on USDA's agreement to that memorandum.
So we're coming back to the same, because I know our people,
Sure.
you know,
Yeah.
but as much as possible, our people with this, you know, ailing economy, a lot that really, you know, the very, very unfortunate people to, you know, to build a house, and as much as possible, if they can avail to a grant, no, rather than a loan. But if we don't have the funding, then at least to avail to some kind of a housing loan at a very, you know, small percentage of interest. So again, I appreciate if you know, come back to that, and for those that did not avail to, and they still wish to build a house, can be able to avail to that farmer's home, and within you know, the MOA be considered. And in regards to foreclosure, do you have foreclosures of housing loan at this point of time?
Not that I know of, which is a good thing. Not that I don't know, but that there's no foreclosures. There are some in the pipeline. You know, the foreclosure process is not something that's simple, right?
But
But
I raised this because are you aware of the public law 20-72?
no, I'm
Okay,
not aware.
we passed this legislation, and became it became public law 20-72. This is those that are up for foreclose, or to waive those and be able to call them back, and help them, assist them with the payment at the same payment plan, and those the interest or the penalty will be waived, and that become public law 20-72. So look into that. If there is individuals that are been foreclosed and they can I think you should follow the public law 20-72.
Okay.
The reason why I altered this bill in the 20th legislature, and the reason why we agreed to this legislation is because to save their house rather than ending up applying for applying at the housing program, to save people's property. Of course, if they didn't comply on the second time that they're given the opportunity, then of course you have no choice but to proceed with whatever that foreclosures requirement. But giving them a second chance to save their house rather than losing their property and their house. So, to alleviate, because I know that a lot of low income are on the list, right? That haven't been accommodated with the housing, right? Especially, I know Tinian and Rhoda also have a couple of lists on individuals that are applying but still waiting, and I know probably Saipan over 400 to 500 on the waiting list, right? So this is the reason why we passed this legislation to become public 20-72, is because to alleviate individual waiting on the waiting list for a free to avail to the housing availability. Because I know that not only NMIDCN or even U.S. citizens that are low income, even those individuals that are from the Federal State of Micronesia are entitled to housing assistance, right? So that I think that's the number of people staying in that. And it was mentioned, I did mention back in 2018, 19, 20, when we entertained the same board, NMHC, and even with SIDA or CD at that time. I mentioned about those I think those federal housing right below the hospital, and there's a lot of complaints why outsiders are staying rather than our own people, and that can be mentioned. It was mentioned by Senator Castro. Why I think at the time I mentioned that why can we use that as a housing program, sort of like turnkey, rather than applying for grant, because the grant is limited, right? So why can our people apply for that? Whoever wants to apply, I know not a lot will, because it's an old house, but that requires a major renovation. But at least they have a house and a property, and if they pay off, the same thing as a turnkey concept, that when you pay, it's yours. We cannot, just ignore public concern, and our people is the one calling our office, inquiring as to why can they be the one to live in that. And I understand that it was leased to outsiders just to collect funding, right? The purpose of that. What was the purpose of? Are you guys involved in that? Renting it out to outsiders or non-US?
Yeah, I can't speak on behalf of the former corporate director, but what I understand is that it was a first come, first serve type of thing, but under the conditions of that rental, the renter must renovate the unit. And you know that those, we all know that those units were not livable. And so I think that may have been the condition that precluded a lot of our locals or our low income individuals to rent out, if it's the lower Miha, the one behind Garpan School. But you know, we didn't purposely rent out to outsiders. We went through a process, and they were responsible to renovate. So all those units that are renovated were at their own expense.
So if you're talking about a place that is not livable and they have to be responsible, are you guys not concerned about the liability if that building falls down? It was that structure carefully inspected by
Yes.
a professional, whether or not people can live without caving in,
Yeah.
you know, falling down, falling roof or falling piece of concrete in the ceiling?
Yes, of course, before any renovation's done, it has to be inspected by one of our partnering agencies, the DPW. So, of course, we're also concerned if they were uninhabitable, just like the RODA units. So we would definitely not allow any family to live in those units. But yes, because there's a major renovations that happen, DPW conducted an inspection, and also with our source engineers.
I just want to make sure, because we have some issue also with our crackings here in our housing here in Tinian, and I hope that the engineer is doing a good job in that, because I'm very concerned about liability, because once we get sued by anyone, I don't know if we can the government can be able to pay lawsuit, because we still have pending land compensation and judgment and different kinds of lawsuit, and we haven't even settled them yet. So just to make sure that we don't, we don't have a good economy yet. We're still trying to find ways to accommodate departments with their budget. So I thought I will mention this just to a preventive measure for the government, being sued by someone, and like I said, we don't have the resources to to pay. And another one is in regards to homestead. You mentioned earlier, I know that in regards to unconstitutionality, right? When we ask or we discuss in regards to the West San Jose Village, it's a new homestead, and it has to be open up, right, for any qualified U.S. citizen, right? And I did mention in our meeting in Saipan in regards to because I'm talking about CDBGDR opportunity. If I my understanding, if you are leasing a property, because I mentioned whether people that are leasing are also qualified. You guys mentioned that they're qualified, but this is CDBGDR. There's a eligibility of income bracket, right, for this. And if a person is leasing, how can we consider that as a low income when they lease a property, unless the property is leased by $1 or below the income bracket? How do you guys determine that that person is qualified because when they lease property, I'm talking about they can afford to lease a property, and leasing a property is not cheap.
I can't speak for the affordability of their household, but we do focus on their income. What they disclose under perjury is what we look at, and if they meet the income limits and they meet the property eligibility, then they qualify for CDBGDR.
Yeah, I understand. I don't understand that. What I'm saying is, if a person is leasing, I don't see why they are qualified because, like I said, leasing a property is not cheap. But I'm just trying to get to the point that because what can we do on homestead program? No, only NMDs are eligible to own land. Even if you're Chamorro from Guam or US citizen, you can't own land. Only NMDs can own land based on Article 12. So you guys basing yourself on, you mentioned Article 12, that we cannot just segregate and just only NMDs. But I think this is our job to do some mitigation, no? And I think it's a matter of communicating with our delegates and how to, because I know U.S. Congress is the one appropriating all this funding to, to give up to the territories. Because we're qualified for this because we're U.S. territories, and I think we should start to explore that kind of ways. Maybe we can NMC can communicate with our delegates. How can she present this concern to their colleagues and see how we can assist? Because mostly NMDs own land here in the city mine. And those, like I said, those that lease, they don't own. And I don't know federal whether they accept they can give you funding that you don't own the property. Because even with FEMA, even those people that are living in that property for many years, 30 years, they don't avail to the FEMA housings because they don't own the property. That's why I see I was looking at that kind of situation. If even FEMA, they're federal. They don't, a lot here that they tried to avail to the FEMA housing, but they were not given that opportunity because although they live for 30 years, 20 some years, but they're not given the opportunity because they don't own the property. So can you guys look into that and see how we can, NMC can address it to our delegates so they can raise it in U.S. Congress and see how we can, because I know I don't want to discriminate anyone because, I no offense to outsiders, but I'm just trying to see how we can help our people.
Sure.
There's, like I said, if federal can do the same thing with FEMA, why can't we?
Yeah, FEMA and HUD are two very different grantors, so our requirements are very different. But we understand and we will consider that. Again, homesteaders to HUD is, or homestead to HUD is sort of a discriminatory thing. Kind of like we're only catering or serving the NMDs,
Yeah,
as
I
opposed to everybody else that are qualified.
Yeah, I understand. Like I said, how can this avail to when the person don't own the land? How can they avail to a CDBG-DR if they don't own it? They're just
It's
leasing
part
it.
of the regs. If they have a leasehold, then they qualify.
So what I'm trying to say, even FEMA, those people that are NMD or they live there for 20-some years, they don't qualify because they don't own the land.
Yeah, different grantor.
So like I said, I think it's a matter of communicating with our a U.S. delegate to see how we can assist our people and not make it look like only NMDs, but mostly NMDs own land and we want them to avail to the program. So again, on another note, how much was this the original amount that was put out for CDBG-DR?
We wrote the grant and we were allocated 246 million. Then we also wrote another mitigation grant and that was 16 million. So
How much?
about 260 million.
60?
260 million.
Okay, so because I remember when this was first when NMHC first initiated this through different kinds of I think on the paper, the radio, I overheard on the radio that encouraging our people to come and avail to this program. And that's correct, right? You guys went on paper and radio. And I heard it's for Mangkut and Yutu.
Yeah.
Do we have, solar on this program?
No, it's for Super Typhoon Yutu and Typhoon Mangkut for Rhoda.
And Mangkut, right? Okay, that's why I mentioned that, because Tinian, the Typhoon Yutu hit Tinian. I think Tinian is in the center of that typhoon, and I see only minimal assistance from here in Tinian. I know that funding that comes here, it applies in general as a cinema request, right? Can we, in the future, can we do something about based on damages? And I know that I don't wanna do like separate, but there's some issues that we have to be as one. But when it comes to damages, we need to assess damages and segregate the amount for each particular senator that have damages. And because the reason why I mentioned this, because NMHC DR is closed, right? Because not enough funding. So that's the purpose why, or the reason why I mentioned this, to segregate the amount as to how much actually is being assessed damages on each senator by the two typhoons. So that we can, alleviate complaints that why just because I came in late, wasn't able to avail to that. I'm on the waiting list, but I got hit big time. I think we should start doing that and making it fair, that because in the beginning, this was announced that it's a loan. It is not a grant. Am I correct?
Yes.
Right? So a lot believe that, I'm going to go there and loan. People couldn't afford to, even with loaning 15,000 at the bank, a lot don't go for it because they couldn't afford to borrow money, and they couldn't afford to pay it back. So people thought that it's a loan. And like I said, if this one is segregated and they still have the opportunity to come and avail to the program, they'll be able to be assisted on that funding. But knowing that it's a loan, a lot that really are below, maybe some don't have any income, that did not avail because when they came back, when they learned that it's a grant, they came back, they're too late already because it's closed. So I think I applaud you guys for a tremendous job in other areas like grant for our infrastructures, or helping our development. But when it comes to this kind of like opportunity for our people, most especially the very unfortunate ones that really need help, please, it has to be accurately announced out, whether it's because even myself, when I heard it's a loan, how can there be a loan when federal government is coming in to help on disaster? Home loan, yes, like farmer's home, but not disaster. Disaster is always a grant. They're giving grant to assist the damages of our or the people that are qualified to seek assistance. So like I said, I think NMHC should start, putting out an accurate information to our people, so that our people will not be complaining that, hey, I thought it was a loan. That's why I didn't come in, and then when I learned that it's a grant, I'm already late because it's closed. I think that one should be because that's why I keep repeating this, because at the end of the day, we are the one to be blamed big time, because we confirm, we give our advice and consent to people that going to go in and assist department with policies and you name it. So that's why we continue to, you know, and even especially me, I continue to keep repeating it like a broken record. I've been saying all this in different issues back then, and like for example, the housing that I mentioned right below the hospital. You know, people, some of our people are just living with their parents, with their siblings, and knowing that, like I said, no offense to those that are living there, but I think we should start looking at into the necessity of our people, because that's what we're here for, no? To assist our people, even though it's a federal no program. But please, if there's anything that the legislature needs to assist you in protecting the way you guys doing and requires legislation, then let us know, so we can, you know, also draft legislation to protect your the things that you do there. I'm not trying to say violate the law, but at least I think we should, even federal government giving us the opportunity to mitigate, right? Do some mitigation. Even in any project, there's mitigation. I believe in mitigation, and to alleviate, you know, issues that will stop whatever we're trying to do. Not to the point that we're going to go to jail, because even me, I don't want to go to jail. But at least to help our people in that regard. So again, I hope that Mr. Mosga, we're very serious when we give our advance and consent. That I know that you just new into this board. You have a lot of experiences in management level. I hope that you considered, because I share the same concern with the members, considered the concerns that were raised, and I look into that and see how you can use your ability to assist in what we discussed today. And I know you're just one, but we hope that the members will also consider the improving the services to our people. Like I said, I'm not trying to tell you guys what to do. You guys know what to do. I'm just raising what is brought to my attention. And although I get whipped, I'll accept the whip, but that's why I'm raising this to alleviate some of the whip against us elected leaders. Please look into those issues, and so that, because our people deserve well explanation as to what happened to this assistance. And Corporate Director, I hope that the MOA between your department and Farmers Home continues for those that still willing to to loan to build a house. And because even though we supported the intention of raffling homestead, and they couldn't afford to build a house, maybe perhaps can come to your department and seek assistance from the department to start building their house. So again, thank you for your understanding, and thank you for being here. And I hope in the future, when we invite the board of directors, I'm not saying all the board of directors come over here, because we don't have the money, but at least one of either the chairman or the vice chairman of the board of directors to come over, because we wanna see how, whether they are in support of what the administration submitted to our attention to give our advice. Because I always mention this, that they have to be very serious. Put some time, because it's not gonna take forever to do a public hearing. We just want them to be serious and be that they're sincere with why they were being confirmed you know, in the past, and we wanna, because we wanna know whether they can be able to work with the new appointee. We wanna know that. If they have issue with Mr. Mosca, we wanna hear that. But we don't see any of the board, you know, I don't know if they're, I know that, no, I know that it was, the message was sent to your office. And I think it's important. It's important in any department. It's important once we invite to come, unless they give you that opportunity to speak on their behalf. But as long as they don't, or they tell you that you're gonna speak on their behalf, the board. So that's the thing. We wanna know from the chairman or from the, because the chairman is, of course, gonna inform the other members, the consensus members, that is going down here to see, you know, and give whether it's support of the, because we wanna make sure they're working, they can be able to work together. That's our amazing concern. That's one of the issues that, or the reason why we want to give our blessings, and we want the people that are given to the Senate, we can be able to you know, contented that it's not the wrong choice of the administration, but knowing that the board don't have any, like, for me, it's like they don't care who they put in, whether it's an obstacle for them or it's going to be a big problem for them. That's why it's important that I think at least one of the board comes down, or even to road. I know that funding is here, but we're gonna have more problem than funding if people comes in and they cannot be able to work together. We will not, you know, complete our mission if there's differences in the board. So again, I appreciate your attention and your understanding for, you know, for all the concern that were raised today, and I hope that Mr. Matthew will, we're not saying that you're gonna go in there and do everything that we ask, but at least share our concern to the members, the sitting members, and see how we can improve the services in regards to housing program. Thank you. Anyone else? Members, are you guys satisfied? Do you, no more question? Recognize Senator Paul Manglot.
I will just make it quick because I know it's lunchtime. I guess I just want to elaborate that, you know, the chairman actually has a lengthy kind of presentation, and I guess it's because that's how we all feel. Housing issue is so critical, and the program that he was talking at length about, Director, I hope you appreciate the concern there, no? Because initially it was supposed to be a grant and a loan, and so some people less fortunate did not try to avail. But then later on, I know the concern was that this has to be spent, right? And so that was why maybe they converted it. But nonetheless, it did not really go to those people with damaged homes, or, you know, that are really in need of help. And those concerns are being brought up to us. And that's why I think that's why the chairman went at length to kind of emphasize to you. And so again, the housing programs, we're gonna, please let's work on those. Director, it's the USDA, right? There's a program that if you don't pay on time, they will assist you, right? So that, you know, because I heard from USDA officials that if, like, for example, you lose employment, all of a sudden there's a death in the family, you might not be able to pay for 3-4 months. They pay for that, and they don't even charge you interest, so that person will not go through foreclosure or, I'm sorry, subsidy, right?
Yes, it's a subsidy. Sorry, I was thinking about the HALF program, but
and that's why I'm concerned that most of these foreclosed homes are farmers' home, rural, right? And it shouldn't be that case. We
Yes.
should help them to get subsidy and no interest. And when they finish paying their loan, that's when they pay that back, maybe, right?
Yes.
Before they get a release of mortgage, you know.
You're
These are the kind of programs that maybe we can help them before, because if they don't know that they have the assistance, right? Sometimes they will just not pay and say, "I'll just leave the home," right? Because they don't know that they can actually get those kind of assistance. And so that's why I don't want to extend this hearing. I will hear because we're happy that we have somebody coming on board to help you, Director. And he's happy because we don't get to question him, but I'm going to have to question him further in another hearing. No, so thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Bo. Anyone else? Before we proceed with our agenda? Ready? Thank you. At this time, all public comments are well taken. Let the record reflect that all written testimonies will be included in the Senate Standing Committee recommendation report along with oral testimonies and will be forwarded before the full Senate members in consideration for confirmation or rejection. At this time, before we adjourn, I would like to extend, on behalf of the members of the Standing Committee, our sincere appreciation and gratitude to Mr. John Regis, the Governor's representative, Mr. Matthew C. Mosga, and most especially the members of the general public for your participation and involvement during this important public hearing process. And we certainly hope that we continue this dialogue of communication between us, the elected officials, and the public to keep you abreast and informed of our current and future Senate hearings ahead that relates to public best interest. This concludes this public hearing for today. Do I hear a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion and was seconded. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion carries. This public hearing is now adjourned. Thank you.